So I'm going to start reading the commentary of the composition by Narayana Guru called Atmopadesha Satakam, or 100 verses of self-instruction. And the commentary I'm using is by Guru Nitya Chaitanya Yati, called That Alone, the Core of Wisdom. Today we will start with verse number 1, which is the secret of the silent word. The composition is in Malayalam and has been translated as follows. Verse number 1. Permeating the knowledge which brilliantly shines at once within and without the knower is the Karu. To that, with the 5 senses withheld, prostrate again and again with devotion and chant. The first verse begins with Arivilum Eri Arindadannavan, one who transcends empirical knowledge. Empirical knowledge is knowing something through personal experience or direct perception. First, meditate on this. Watch your awareness pass through you as a stream of consciousness. Identify your status as the knower. For instance, when you say, I know, I am the knower, have a conscious awareness of yourself as the knower of both the I in you as well as the object of your awareness. As you read, notice how your consciousness penetrates into the meaning of what is written here. It is as if you are entering a room and becoming acquainted with whatever is in it. Similarly, you enter into the word content and become familiar with the concept it presents. When you look at an object, you are not only seeing a form, you are also entering into the essence of it and knowing it as transformed states of your own consciousness. In English, the word experience implies an interaction between the knower and what is known. In Sanskrit, the word for experience, anubhava, means becoming likewise. It is not an interaction between the subject and object, but a transformation of the subject. You, as the knower, are transforming your consciousness of the moment into what is known. In the present context, experience should be understood as a subjective transformation. It is information in the true sense of the word. There is a state of knowing in which you become oblivious of your personal involvement as the knower. When you are fully engaged in an experience, you are not simultaneously thinking of yourself. Ideas such as I am knowing, I am enjoying, etc. only come when you ruminate on your mental states or communicate them to someone else. Otherwise, there is just knowing by itself. It is the structure of language into which we put our thoughts that creates differences between thoughts and things. For example, if you see a bird in a tree, you don't think it is happening inside your head as an occurrence of knowledge. You see it as a bird out there. Then the known itself is both the knowing and the knower. It is as if the knower is interjected into the known. You don't have to struggle in order to bring what is known into you or to fuse the knower into the known. It all happens spontaneously and instantly. In this verse, Narayana Guru refers to the dichotomy between the world outside and the world inside. The best way to understand your inside world is to close your eyes and restrain your other senses. When your senses are not put into operation, you experience only the subtle sensations of passing ideas, inner urges, and conscious volition, which constitute your inner world. Closely watch your consciousness and examine what takes place when you say, I am the knower. This is knowledge, and this is known. What do you experience that is called a knower within you? Where is the separate thing called knowledge? The object of knowledge may be seen as everything other than the subject. Although these are seemingly separate entities, in terms of consciousness, there is no differentiation. On all such occasions, what you experience is a single consciousness undergoing different modulations. Here, knower, known, and knowledge refer only to aspects of your personal and private experience. They take place within your own awareness as mere transformations. The key word in this verse is Karu, which is both definable and undefinable. It is ultimately to be understood as the Absolute, the primeval cause, the universal self, and the nature that is nurturing. It can also be thought of as the nucleic notion of a series of creative functions, and more philosophically, as the ontologic essence of the physical and metaphysical. Its literal meaning, or the literal meaning of Karu, is mold. The blacksmith uses a mold into which he pours molten metal to form a cast of an image or vessel. In a bird's egg, there is a kind of mold contained in its genetic code. Out of this mold comes the fledgling bird, which eventually transforms into an adult. Human beings also come from a mold that has in it the blueprint of the chromosomes. Any effect has a mold, its cause. The mold of an actualization is its potential. The mold of knowledge is consciousness. The mold of articulated thought is language. Words are the mold of meanings. The mold of material things is energy. The mold of energy is the law that controls and directs it. Thus, everything in this world, ranging from the most subtle to the most gross, has its own corresponding mold. The generalization of all these is called Karu. In another sense, that which gives truth and meaning to consciousness and fills it with content is Karu. When it is understood as that which manifests or as the nature that nurtures, it has the status of immanence. As references to the mold cannot always be confined to its specificatory aspects, it is also to be understood as the transcendent. It is immanent in universal consciousness and it transcends individual comprehension. The Guru wants us to understand Karu in both these senses at the same time, without shifting the emphasis from one to the other. If we can do this, the earth we see here is really earth. Water is water, man is man, and tears and smiles are tears and smiles. This is what Guru describes as that which brilliantly shines outside. All these external facts belong to the universal concrete, just as the Himalayas, the Alps, and the Rockies have been out there for millions of years. Physical, chemical, and biological transformations have been going on for billions of years with unbroken continuity. The traditions and social customs of comparatively later periods are also part of the same external reality. When the classical scientists termed matter as everything external, it was meant more or less in a metaphorical sense. The word matter is derived from the Latin word mater, which means the mother. The mother is another form of Karu. She gives birth to new possibilities. At this stage, we can ask, what is it that makes a mold a mold, a Karu a Karu? In the order and meaning of things, we see a correspondence that tallies with the operation of our reason. We can understand a mold or a cast only in terms of the meaning it presents to our reason. When we reduce the visible in terms of the calculable, we can see a meticulous adherence of reason to a mathematically precise harmony. We are compelled to think that there is something similar to reason operating in whatever we understand as the mold. Later in these verses, we will come across a definition of the self as the knowledge that knows even when there is nothing else to illuminate it other than itself. In that sense, we can say the Karu is the self. In Narayana Guru's Guhashtaka, he defines Karu as one, the truth that has no other foundation, while itself being the foundation of the entire world. Two, that which is modulating as the attributes of the flux of becoming, both as the known and the knower, and at the same time transcending all modalities. Three, the womb of all while having no womb for itself. And four, the pure duration that is generating the flux of time. The philosophy of Spinoza is very close to what is contained in the first verse of Atmopadesh Satakam. What Narayana Guru calls Karu appears in the philosophy of Spinoza as substance. The substance of Spinoza is self-founded and self-established. It includes within it all matrices of causes and effects. Spinoza gives two attributes to substance, extension and cogitation. In Vedanta, extension is called Vyapti. Spinoza's concept of extension appears in the Guru's verse as outside, and his idea of cogitation is akin to knowledge, as it is used here. The phrase at once brilliantly shining comes in Spinoza's philosophy as omnia. Furthermore, what Narayana Guru terms as Arivilam Eri is the same as Spinoza's intellectus infinitus. Uruvilam is the same as motus et quaes. Porottu corresponds to res particularis. Ottu is equivalent to fascis totius universi. The unitive vision expressed in this verse is becoming more and more recognized by modern-day scientists. It is very similar to the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum theory given by Heisenberg and Niels Bohr. As a starting point, they divide the physical world into an observed system, which is identical with Guru's term Purattu, outside, and the observing system which combines in it what Guru terms Arivilam Eri, permeating knowledge, and Uruvil within. Even David Bohm, one of the main opponents of the Copenhagen interpretation, expresses a position which comes very close to the world vision presented in this verse by Narayana Guru. One is led to a new notion of unbroken wholeness, which denies the classical idea of analyzability of the world into separately and independently existing parts. We have reversed the usual classical notion that the independent elementary parts of the world are the fundamental reality, and that the various systems are merely particular contingent forms and arrangements of these parts. Rather, we say that inseparable quantum interconnectedness of the whole universe is the fundamental reality, and that relatively independently behaving parts are merely particular and contingent forms within this whole. End of quote. You are obstructed from knowing this continuous process because of the intervention of the constant awareness, I am, I am, I am. You have to tame and humble this aggressive I. Think of the I as of no worth other than of an excellent tool. It has no power of its own to create anything. It is only a speck of total consciousness that becomes ego-identified. Let that I consciousness prostrate before this one supreme cosmic consciousness, which is becoming everything. That will help bring about the normalization of your perspective. That is one of the most important things in wisdom, is normalizing one's perspective. There is always a tendency, because of this I or the ego sense, for people to become eccentric, lose their center, and therefore it is necessary to humble this I consciousness and prostrate it before the cosmic consciousness. Narayana Guru tells us the supreme knowledge is shining at once as the inner world and the outer world with great resplendence. It is blazing as this universe, as the self, as knowledge, as emotions, as value appreciations. We are to turn with reverence to that universal yoke, to that cosmic egg of consubstantiation. If you want to meditate on this verse, focus its light on whatever happens during the course of the day. Repeat the verse in your mind. Feel the great wonder of your own consciousness that is continuously modulating as the world outside and the idea inside. And this is one of the most wonderful meditations. Feel the great wonder of your own consciousness that is continuously modulating as the world outside and the idea inside. Do this while you are looking at things, talking to another person, and doing your daily routines. When you sense that wonder, it will spontaneously produce in you a great reverence for the universal within you. The reverence for the universal within you. This will naturally make you grateful that you can think, see, feel, know, and do, and thus participate in the cosmic manifestation of the Absolute. Is it not wonderful that the manifestation outside can reciprocate your innermost dreams and desires? In the process of our sophistication, we have lost our natural innocence, our capacity to stand in awe and wonder. We have to cultivate that sense of wonder once again. It is a wonder that this body that was lying like a log of wood on a bed a few hours ago is now sitting here and reasoning. It is a wonder that it can witness a multidimensional universe which was not present during that sleep. The subtle depths from which the contents of dreams themselves come are a wonder. It is a wonder that I can talk to you and you can listen to and understand me. Therefore, the Karu is also the adorable Absolute. And as we have said, it is the nucleic notion of a series of creative functions. You have done away with all your sense of wonder through acts of analyzing and labeling. After having filled the pigeonholes of your mind with hoarded labels, you think you have become wise. But these labels are blocks which only increase your blindness. You have become devoid of the sense of the numinous. If you say God and there is no feeling in you, if you say Absolute and you don't become overwhelmed, be sure you have no idea of God or the Absolute. You need to rehabilitate your numinous essence. So that is what has gone lacking, the numinous essence. For a baby, every moment is a wonder. Out of their wonder-filled minds, small children can create so much beauty. It is yet a wonder, a joy that we can see and touch each other. The thrill of that wonder is the adoration I am speaking of. You have to cultivate an attitude of devotion to that known and unknown magician who makes all this possible. And therefore, in money wisdom texts, the world is created by a magician. It's a magical manifestation. Shankara says that of all the things that can bring emancipation to a person, there is nothing like devotion. It is the supreme way of liberation. Devotion is wholeheartedness. It is absolute love. See this wonder that is being manifested around you and within you, moment after moment, without turning away from any of your normal duties. Therefore, it is seeing the transcendence in immanence and seeing the immanent in transcendence. Through the whole day, while you eat, walk, work, go to sleep, ponder over this wonder with devotion. If you make notes of what you see and feel and then read them in the evening, you will be surprised to discover how many treasures you have admired in a single day. With this verse, you are entering into an intense spiritual discipline. And the free translation of this verse is, may the chanting be commenced with the 5 organs of perception turned inward and pacified, again and again prostrating before that mysterious embryo, the Karu, shining within and without the knower.